Hello everybody. In today's video I want to talk about Kylo Ren and Snoke and the effects that Snoke's death has on Kylo Ren's character, specifically his role as a villain in the trilogy. Now, Kylo Ren is what I think one of the stronger characters in the new trilogy. I believe he has a lot of depth to him, and I think that he's been handled pretty well. Probably I would say the majority of people's favorite character in the trilogy. It's a safe thing to say. And I think the reason why that is, besides him being part of the Skywalker bloodline and just looking cool and having a cool lightsaber or whatever, is the fact that he has depth and he has character to him and we can relate to him because of what he struggles with, and he has very earth-like and human struggles with his parents and with authority figures and with himself, and how sure he is of himself and his self-esteem issues and his emotional tantrums and all that sort of thing. It really helps us as an audience relate and connect with Kylo Ren as a character. So I just wanted to talk a little bit in depth about Snoke's death and how that affects Kylo Ren's character. Now, how you feel about Snoke being killed off and Snoke's character itself isn't as relevant to this video as it might be to other ones that I might make, but Kylo Ren, because he is so conflicted and because we have seen depth and we have seen him question whether he should be evil or whether he should be good, it doesn't work that well being the main villain when you have these conflicts of character. So what I mean is, when we see Kylo Ren question whether he's going to kill Leia in The Last Jedi and he eventually doesn't, all that shows us as an audience is that there is good within him, that there is the ability to make the right choice within Kylo Ren. He has the capability of being a hero type character. Even if it's just the smallest little glimpse, he has that redeeming quality to him. And that's good to have in your main overall overarching villain. Because like we've seen with Star Wars before, with Anakin, he was good and he fell to the dark side. And then in the original trilogy, we saw Luke redeem Anakin or Darth Vader, and he eventually died as a hero, quasi-hero, at least to Luke Skywalker and those close to him who knew what happened. So we've seen that before, and it works. The problem that I have with how it was handled with Snoke and Kylo Ren is because Kylo Ren is conflicted so early on. It's not like this is the third movie and we're seeing glimpses of him be good and is he going to turn or not. It's the fact that it's the second movie and we're still trying to build that greatness and that aura around his character of being a bad villain that is irredeemable. So with Snoke's death, or I should say with Snoke being alive, Snoke's presence behind Kylo Ren gives this very strong presence to the evil entity that is the First Order. So Snoke being so mysterious and so overly powerful, as he was portrayed for a little bit at least, really helps strengthen the badness that we see in Kylo Ren, because we know that even if Kylo is questioning whether what he's doing is right or not, we know that there's Snoke there who is going to push him in the direction of being evil. We know that Snoke is training him, or he did train him. We know that Snoke is that overbearing, overarching presence that is leading Kylo to do bad things and is making Kylo a stronger villain character. And when you kill him off, like we saw in The Last Jedi in the second movie, it really weakens the foundation and the basis of what Kylo's evil potential could be. It kind of makes it so that, at least for me, and I know some other people, that Kylo is less intimidating now because there's not the figure of Snoke, the overarching aura behind Kylo of Snoke and the First Order and everything that they're capable of. I mean, the First Order is kind of hard to define because in The Force Awakens, we're led to believe that the First Order and Snoke have just been laying in wait for hundreds of years, building up and getting ready for the Empire to fall, the Galactic Empire to fall. And Snoke has been planning and waiting for his perfect moment to come in and take over from the Outer Rim. So we're led to believe that it is a very, very powerful overarching thing. And that really helps Kylo Ren's character. It's a foundation for Kylo Ren's character to be built on because we know that he started out as a good guy. He was a Skywalker being trained under Luke, and he had a pretty abrupt and not very well explained fall. Like, I understand that Luke tried to kill him, and that would be definitely traumatizing to somebody, but for me to believe that he had that betrayal moment and then immediately like that started murdering his friends or his pupils at the academy and burned it down and immediately gave himself to the dark side. To me, that's a big leap to take. And I know like a lot of people kind of just skim over that, but I would hope that maybe in the next movie they explore more of Kylo's descent to the dark side. But even if that's all we're going to get, with Snoke there, it really helps strengthen that because, like I've said a few times, it's that aura behind Kylo that we know Kylo is here evil, but we know that Snoke is up here evil, and that together is very intimidating and imposing to the Resistance. So when he gets killed off, all it really does, even if Snoke himself isn't important to the story, to the plot, to the narrative of this trilogy, he still serves a role in strengthening and making Kylo Ren much more intimidating and scary as a villain. So without Snoke, what we're left with really is just a character who we've already seen have moments of weakness, or weakness as in the possibility of switching to the good guys. I mean, a lot of people thought maybe Kylo was going to switch to the good guys after he killed Snoke. So that in our minds, we're trying to see a struggle between two sides. We want to see a conflict between two sides that are different, that have different beliefs, different belief systems, and they're going to go about it in different ways. Now what we're left with is Rey and the Resistance, who are the good guys. They're pretty clear cut. I mean, there's, besides the little narrative they tried to do in Canto Bight, it's pretty clear that the Resistance are seen as the good guys. And then we have all that's left of the First Order is Kylo Ren and Hux, and unfortunately Hux was turned into nothing more than kind of the butt of a lot of jokes. He wasn't really imposing at all in The Last Jedi. I mean, it's almost like they're two completely different characters from The Force Awakens to The Last Jedi, but that's something else I'll get into a different time. But so yeah, it really doesn't help serve the purpose of being a bad guy when you take away that big baddie. So with the First Order, we have Hux and Kylo Ren. And to me, that's not really that intimidating. I mean, we've already seen Rey beat Kylo Ren when she didn't even have training in the first movie. And I know he was injured, but still, this guy's supposed to be trained from birth by Luke Skywalker and then by Snoke. Two of them were led to believe two of the most powerful Force users in the galaxy up to this point. So the fact that he's already been beaten, We've seen him fly off the handle and lose control on a number of occasions. We've seen him kill Han Solo, but then we also, which I feel like J.J. Abrams was trying to establish Kylo as a bad guy by killing Han Solo. But then in The Last Jedi, he doesn't kill Leia. So it's almost like, is he growing, or is it a fundamental change in character, the way that they're written? But even if you want to go the route that Kylo's growing, which is fine with me, I mean, I don't want to just have stale characters that never have any sort of arc. But when you have a character that's growing towards the light, but doesn't have anything behind him to really make us as an audience worried about the option that he might not, it just really doesn't help the overall strength of the character itself. It's one of these things where you kind of wish, even if Snoke wasn't going to be important overall, that he was at least just there to make Kylo Ren and Hux more imposing. But just with those two left, and we've seen them been bested in both movies so far, I mean, I'm not really worried if the Resistance is going to win in the third movie. We all know that's most likely what's going to happen unless JJ does a complete 180. So it's a shame that it almost feels like a lost opportunity, and now you are basically weakening the foundation for one of your best characters going into the third movie, which should be the big climax. I mean, I know other people have said this, and I believe it the same way. Even if you killed Snoke off, all right, you had the movie the same way all the way up to that point, and then in the very end, when Kylo and Luke's projection face off, if Luke Skywalker had actually been on Crate, and Kylo and Luke had actually had a lightsaber duel, and in the end Kylo bested Luke Skywalker, that would really, really strengthen Kylo's character as an evil presence, as somebody that we as an audience want to see defeated or saved, whatever. And it would really make him somebody that we feel is a threat to the Resistance and to Rey and to all our heroes, because him killing Luke Skywalker would have been something so big that we had never seen anybody do. I mean, even if Luke wasn't connected to the Force for all those years and wasn't training and all that stuff, Kylo besting him in a duel and taking him out in front of the whole Resistance would change the whole trajectory for the next movie in a much better way, I feel. Going into the next movie right now, for me, there's really not that much to look forward to. I mean, we've seen the First Order lose twice. We've seen Rey and the heroes best them and come out on top twice. So what is it really, and all the interesting stuff that JJ had built up in The Force Awakens, all the plot lines, are kind of just gone now, unless he does some retconning himself and tries to work it back in. But there's really not much to look forward to. And Kylo killing Luke would really make us as an audience kind of be almost taken back at the power that this guy really does have. Because we saw him lose to Rey, and we thought, okay, that's fine. Snoke said bring him back because we're going to complete his training. If he had taken Luke down in that saber battle, it would have just really, really reinforced the threat that is Kylo Ren, and really would have taken him up there to somebody like, to somebody on Vader, not as character-wise, but strength-wise and intimidation-wise, up to Vader's level or Darth Maul's level, who we saw kill Qui-Gon Jinn, which really set up the conflict for the rest of the prequels. Even though, I mean, we were all kind of disappointed with them, it still worked having this imposing figure. And I'm just really, I'm really disappointed that they didn't take this opportunity or make it so that Kylo could still remain threatening in the next movie. Because to me, at this point, it's basically Rey and Kylo will have their showdown, and Rey will probably win in the end. I mean, if she lost now, how would she lose now? I mean, we saw Rey beat him when she had no training, and he had all the training. We saw Rey and the guys get away and outsmart him in The Last Jedi, and now, I mean, in the third movie, Rey's not just going to randomly lose, especially now that she had the training and she has the Jedi books or whatever. So it just really kind of throws the whole feeling of the trilogy off in that sense. And that's really all I've really wanted to say as far as that is just, it's a shame because I know a lot of people say Snoke didn't matter anyway, just like the Emperor was kind of just there. And that's fine. That's fine if you want to, if that's the way that you see it. But just thinking about Kylo Ren as a character, somebody that I think all of us can agree is one of the most interesting parts of the movie. Taking Snoke away from him as his whole package, as the Kylo Ren First Order package, really does not help the character at all. In fact, as I've said in this video, I think it weakens him and makes him less intimidating and less of a villain character. And if that's the way that this trilogy wanted to go, not really having a villain and blurring the lines, that's fine, but they haven't really executed it that well. I mean, Rey's kind of just been all good. I mean, she has her moments of aggressiveness, but they haven't explored that at all, as far as I know. So it just seems like a missed opportunity to me, along with many others within the movie. But that's basically what I just wanted to say on that subject, and I think I'm going to go more in depth on these characters and the arcs and possibilities or ways that they could have handled it better. But basically that's the gist. I really am not sure why they decided to take Snoke out in that manner when he really just added a lot to the Kylo Ren character and the overall presence of the evil within the movies. So let me know what you think. This will probably be the first in many videos like this.